Now, former and current ANC presidents battled it up in court on Thursday. It was the first time South Africans experienced former and current heads of the ruling party going head-to-head in such a manner. So should the ANC be concerned about its former and current president battling it out in the courts, or should it look at this as a clear constitutional democracy in action where its leaders are subjected to the rule of law? Let's get some reaction on this with Omry Makgoale, who is a political commentator. Thank you for making time for us, Mr. Makgoale. It's not the first time that we see this tension. I think Jacob Zuma made it very clear he's not Cyril Ramaphosa's fan when he wrote that letter to him in 2020, basically not just attacking him, but essentially telling the president he's not as clean as he claims to be, and even accused him of destroying the ANC. Could the ANC have acted at the time to avoid things getting worse between the two, or do you think that wouldn't have helped?
I think it was not possible probably for the ANC to act, because the ANC is fractured and fragmented, and there's got these big factions inside that are fighting it out, to try and all with the interest to capture the union building. So it's not possible to find a middle ground sometimes between the two factions. They're fighting it out, and all for power in the union building. And I think this must be understood as the ANC factional battles now moving out of ANC corridors into the courts. That's how it must be understood, and that's how I would look at it.
What impact do you think this tension between the two has on the organization?
Well, the tension does do damage. Because you want to believe that there should be some form of working together between former president and the current president. But at the moment, because of this faction, the bitter faction battles inside the ANC, and because of the past period and the Zondo Commission inquiry, which of course has not been very good for some of the colleagues and some of the NEC members, and also the fact that the President Zuma, of course, has got 783 charges from the arms deal, and that's still pending. So, he wants to make sure that if it's possible, he must remove Ramaphosa from office. That's what he wants to do, to remove him from office by hook or by crook, remove him. And if he will find a way of using the cost to do that, he will most likely do that.
So you think it's revenge, some payback time?
I wouldn't say revenge per se, but I would say that, when you are in a corner and you think that the man who is in charge of the state is the one that is actually making sure that you go to prison, or you are likely to go to prison, and you think that you can remove him, you do everything to remove him. I think it's just normal self-defense protection for anybody, that if you are in a corner and you think this is the person who put you in that corner, maybe you remove him. And I think that, former President Zuma, he thinks that if he removes Ramaphosa, some of his problems will be, alleviated or shifted aside.
Is this tension between the two of them contributing to what some are referring to as the deteriorating legacy of the ANC? Do you have thoughts on that?
No, I think the ANC has already started to deteriorate, from the time when former President Mbeki started to tamper with, with the prosecution, when he stopped Advocate Vuspikole from arresting the former police commissioner. From that time onwards, the legacy of the ANC was beginning to deteriorate, and now maybe it has deteriorated for the past 20 years, and it's getting worse and worse. But basically, it is all because of the electoral laws, It's all because of the parliamentary electoral laws and the ANC internal electoral laws. Because if we had parliamentary electoral laws where the citizens elect the leaders that go to parliament, we would not be having this. Whether when you step aside, you are removed from office or you're not, because it will be the citizens that will be deciding who is in office at union building, but not the party, Now, at the moment, it's the party that decides. So, and according to the party, when you are supposed to step aside, then you are supposed to be moving out of office. And this is why all this plays into the fore.
Yeah, and the question is, when is that going to change? Because the ANC itself doesn't believe clearly in constituency accountability. That's why they voted together with the EFF and other parties in favor of that electoral bill that doesn't quite effectively deal with that issue of constituency accountability. You spoke about the ANC legacy deteriorating, and I think from time to time, people have written about the beginning of the end for the ANC, about how the organization is imploding, even as far back as over 10, 15 years ago. If really that's the case, it must be a really slow implosion.
Yes, of course, it's I would say it's not really slow death, because I don't think that the ANC will die very soon, personally. But I think that it might lose elections, and that's a different thing. For the ANC to die and for the ANC to lose elections are two different things. I think it might lose elections the way it's going on, but it won't die, it will be there. And this is why I believe that it can still be recovered as an organization, but not necessarily winning the next elections as easy as it was before. So I think we need to separate and differentiate the two, between the ANC dying and the ANC losing elections. You know, so those two are not the same and should not be understood as the same thing.
Do you think there's anything the organization can still do to try and save itself and restore that legacy?
Yes, I believe that if we change the parliamentary laws and we allow the citizens to directly elect members of parliament, the citizens of South Africa will clean parliament. And in the process of cleaning parliament, they will actually clean the ANC also, because the ANC will be forced to nominate credible candidates from across the country, credible countries who will then, if elected, go to parliament and with integrity. But at the moment, of course, with this NEC that has just been elected now from the press delegate, most of them have got many scandals from the past, so they are not going to clean the ANC, and the ANC is not going to recover with this NEC, according to my mind.
So in other words, at the rate that the ANC is going now, there's no chance of that recovery if it continues on the...
In the next elections, the way we're going on, we're most likely to remain with the rural provinces. But, you know, the big cities like Durban, Tegwini, Johannesburg, Pretoria, we're more likely to lose those cities because the way we're going on, the people in the urban areas are sick and tired of the sewage that is flowing into the rivers and the harbors, you know? And they don't want to listen to those stories anymore.
All right, Omry Makgoale, political commentator, thank you for making time for us.